Growing risks in the financial system as a whole might cause you to take another look at how you're managing risk in your investment portfolios. How do you manage systematic risk? I've got that and more coming up. My name's Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Over the past, I'm going to say 6 months or so, I've just had more and more conversations with clients who have brought up their concerns, but also with peers and other financial professionals in the finance industry that have just been alarmed and a growing sense of concern over some large and big looming financial risks. There's actually a geeky term for this in economics called systematic risk. Okay, systematic risk is defined as risk, investment risk, that you cannot diversify away. You can't diversify. It's sort of inherent in the financial system, and this is in contrast to unsystematic risk, which you can diversify away. So the risk between holding or Walmart going under and owning Amazon, or Amazon going under and you should have been holding Walmart, that sort of thing. So you can diversify away some of that risk, or even you say the risk of political issues or whatever in a certain economy, certain country, say in the US, well, you can diversify that away by holding international investments, those sorts of things. So unsystematic risk is risk that you can diversify away in your investment strategies. But systematic risk is just inherent. There are cracks, it's flaws in the overall financial system. And the most recent example, I would say this is subjective, was the great financial crisis. You could be diversified, and yeah, sure, that helped a little bit if you own stocks and bonds, but there wasn't a lot of places to hide. Everything that great financial risk was systemic. The mortgage loans and all of that was all connected together in the financial tapestry. I would argue it seems that we have a growing systematic risk in the financial markets, and this is anecdotal. Yes, it's partly contributed to some of the perspective and some of the discussions that I've been having and folks bringing concerns to me. But I just had another one of these conversations recently with a client where they're just talking about enormous risks that could really disrupt the financial markets with no potential solution in sight. Okay, huge risks that really are at the fabric of the financial markets, with really no easily identifiable solution. So what are some of these? I would say the number one that's on my mind is the growing amount of U.S. national debt. So there's so much faith and confidence in the Federal Reserve and our Treasury that that financially, if the economy gets cold, there will be some stimulus or there will be some adjustments, and the fact that our Federal Reserve can print money and those sorts of things, that has smoothed over a lot of rough patches in the economy. And have we reached a point where the deficit is so large that we have to keep printing money, and then as we print money to help with stimulus and economic shocks, has the debt gotten so large that now the debt, which used to be a solution to a lot of the money printing, used to be a solution to a lot of economic problems, that is the big problem, the everything bubble, is what I've shared with folks over the past several years. That one, as soon as that risk becomes forefront and inescapable, that's sort of the everything bubble. That's the big one. But you could also point to things like the geopolitical risks and the strong polarization of political parties, not only here in the U.S. but also across the world. You could point to other issues like the rising tensions and potential for World War III or nuclear war. These are enormous risks that will certainly have economic shocks to it and seem to be systematic, not possible to really diversify away. So if you're with me, and even if you say, yeah, these are big issues, or you know what, I actually don't think that'll be a problem, what can you do? What can you do to manage these systematic risks? Is it just like the definition, like holds, and hey, there's really not much you can do, or is there something that you should be doing? And I'm going to point out one other thing, that the conversations, especially from clients that are bringing up these concerns and saying, hey, how how do we manage this? How do we account for this in our portfolio? Are at the point where they're either living off their portfolio in retirement or are soon going to be. So they're near retirement or in retirement, and that's a seemingly vulnerable time to be dealing with these big financial concerns. And people are questioning, well, am I going to be okay? And if one of these concerns, if one of these risks pop, what's going to be the impact on me? So what do you do? What do you do? I would say at the forefront, what I don't think would be wise is to jump in and jump out and jump in and jump out of the pool. Okay, and so the I'm invested, and then I'm not invested. Oh, I'm invested, I'm not invested. And while you may have timed things right at 1 or 2 points in the past, these are huge risks, and there will certainly be times when you think, everything's about to change, and let me jump out, and then it's just going to blow over, and the can will be kicked down the road, as they say. So I think that jumping out and jumping back in, jumping out and jumping back in is likely to be an ineffective strategy. It's proven to be ineffective in the past, even if it's worked once or twice for you. But with these big risks, it's likely there will be some false signals or some times when it looks like it's about to crumble and then it doesn't. And so I don't think that jumping in and out is an effective strategy. What would I suggest you do instead? One, I would consider working with your certified financial planner, looking at your overall investment allocation. And oftentimes that means diversification. No, diversifying strategies. And one of the strategies I wonder if you should be implementing within your portfolio is hedging. When you hedge, you are giving up some potential return. Buying options or doing some hedging typically costs some money, just like it costs money to insure your house. But the benefit of hedging is there's what's called a known correlation benefit. And I know that's geeky, but when you need the protection, it will show up. So paying for your home insurance premium, yes, that financially that takes cash flow from you. However, when there's a fire, when there's an event, you've got that insurance in place, and hedging is the same way. So that's one thing that I would consider, and I'd suggest you work on with your certified financial planner. See if it makes sense for your financial situation to manage these bigger and growing systemic risks. But then the other is to ensure that you align your investment risks with when you need those investment dollars. We talk about this all the time, personal pension plan. And as you get closer to retirement, or you're in retirement and are feeling potentially more financially vulnerable to these big outsized risks, taking a look and saying, well, when are you going to need the money? And the money that you need in the short term should be in short-term instruments. The money that you're going to need in the intermediate term should be in intermediate term instruments. And it's the money that you won't touch for the long term. Those are your growth dollars. Those are the dollars that you shouldn't be swinging for the fences or strike out, but you should still be diversified, taking the appropriate level of risk. But those are the ones that should be invested for growth and invested at risk in the long term. So work with your certified financial planner on an individualized basis to see how do you manage these growing systematic risks for your situation. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go on, take your next wise step in your financial life.